6/17/2012, 10:25 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Nasdaq 100, worldwide banking crisis in full bloom, such as the Greece deal today on Sunday, such as Ben Bernanke 2-day FOMC meeting next week, how we called the bottom ranges of the Nasdaq 100, but how we're going up into the volatility side of the top end, where the Nasdaq 100 will have problems within the volatility cycles. We have a complete call and put structure for the weekly Nasdaq 100, and we're monitoring a couple of July ones, but mainly the weekly here. And we have various call and put structures on that index options. One of the things that we would clearly like to cover with folks is the weekly chart here on this Nasdaq 100. You can see how we put in the bottoms down here. We shorted these tops up here, as you all know, and we're part of. So basically, when we got down here to that 2443 handle, we have now rallied all the way up to 2579. So that rally is over 100 and plus some points. And I will tell you right now that yes, the 10-week is declining. Yes, you're 4 weeks below it. That's bear trend. So what? It got support level at the 2012 breakout handle. This is that bar right here of 2443 on the low, and that was on 129. And from that point, we came down and we tested it clearly, and now we're going back up into the wall of resistance levels. That's what it looks like on a public chart weekly for you new MMTs. And I would just still like to let people understand that we were extremely overbought up here at 97%, 94%, and we got down here where markets make turns, and they have, but into the wall of resistance. So based on a gap open up sequence, we're going to go to our MMT daily chart. We are right back here where we sold that news down real hard here on this gap on 6/11. The open was 25.78. The high was only 25.79, and they sold it down to 25.17 now. And that was based on that Spanish bank stuff and all of that when they gapped it up. But we did put a bottom in here in this consolidation. We bought these lows, but I will tell everybody that the next wall of resistance that we're going to be looking at is going to be 25.77 half bar. And that Nasdaq 100 right here closed at 2571.23, up 31.26 handles, up 1.23%. Yes. So as we come up and challenge that first area, we're going to be looking at other areas of interest, and it'll be this one. It'll be 25.97 daily half bar that was in play on 5/15 of 2012. That's your daily half bar, 5/15/2012. 25.97 is going to be your upper end of that resistance area. That's right below that 2600 level. That on the way up, we're going to hit those areas of resistances. And that's going to be a major one. There's another one that we're going to look at that's right in here. And the half bar right here that was set on 5/10 of 2012 during when we were shorting these highs up here and coming all the way down. That half bar is going to be 2619.38 MMTs, and that was on 5/10 of 2012. They opened at 2631.97. The high was only 2631.97, but guess what? They sold it down to the lows of 2606 and closed it at 2616. So right at these very key areas is going to be that wall of resistance from this bear bottom that was put in. In our platform, we're going to have to deal with this part. So when we gap up tomorrow, what we're going to be looking at is where would this gap be? And it's going to be right across here. This diamond, double diamond bar that was set on 5/15. Once again, the intraday range was 40.46 handles on that day. And that low, or that open, was 25.89, and that resistance was 26.17. And then it hit the high on that date, and then came down to 25.76. So that's going to be the key areas of resistances on that upside. On the downside, we're going to be looking where we would hold support at 25.25, which is this big daily half bar that was set on 6/6/2012, and that half bar support level on that daily MMT is going to be 25.20 pennies at the lower end of the price support. It's always going to be that gap bar, and it's always going to be the half. So you're going to want to understand that we are up here. That's about 50 handles below the marketplace. And to the upper resistance levels that I've talked about herein, this is 26.12 right here. And that's going to be a resistance area. And that bar was set in on 5.9, and the high was 26.35. So we do understand that that's going to be right up in this area, and that's going to be 1, 2, we could go as high as 3 half deltas. And what is a half delta per line? $15.33 per line. And we're that accurate right there at that resistance level, but that's a half a delta movement in our system. And we're right on the money. And so basically what I want people to understand is what we're going to do with the shorter time frames and the longer time frames of the wall of resistance. And here's that diamond right here. This is where he closed. 20, and I've got it set right there. That's exactly 2571.23. So the gap scenario, gap open up resistance levels will remain in this part of the MMT. Half delta daily range at resistance levels. But let me tell you something, the high here was 25.79.23 where they sold it down. So we're already right about there. We're almost there. Okay. So when we blow through there, if we do, we're going to look at what happens right here. Exactly right here, MMT. We're going to be focusing on this part, this 25.95 area right in here on the daily. Then down below here where these lower diamonds are, where it's coming up right now, it's going to have to get through this half bar. That's 25.77. It's going to have to close above it and then consolidate it to go higher up here to 26.25. And these are 10-day moving averages. Don't worry about them. This is the resistance channels on Nasdaq 100. Now I will proceed, and there's your weekly. Remember that the trend itself qualifies for a bear reversal from a bull cap high. And you got to close back above the weekly moving averages, and they got to flatten out and do all of that again, like this over here. They got to. So when you make bottoms, the blue line has to turn up. Same thing over in this area. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4 week lateral move right here, back up, and we're going to go right into these resistance levels. And I will tell you right now that the 20-week moving average is at 26.23 now, starting for tomorrow morning, and that the weekly moving average has been ascending in value, and that right now the full trend cycle is to take advantage of doing the 25.75. Here's the put option that we're going to be looking at. We're also going to be looking at the $2,600 put that got marked down. This one got marked down $30. Why? Because it's a weekly, and not only that, it was in the money. And as we went up and closed over here at 25.71, look at the markdown. That means that as a master market maker index option, that they were 63.80, but look at, they still got marked down $30.80 from here. The high was 41 and the low was 33, but look at the markdown, and we're going to be taking a look at, should we go up to that 26 area? I will give prices, because these prices will go lower. And not only that, if we're going to travel up to this strike price, 73.95, they're, look, they don't have a lot of volume. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you get the lower entry. These can get marked down considerably still as well. So when we're taking a look at call and put structure, we're going to be really monitoring the 25.75 put, along with our weekly charts daily and our market making skills. And once again, I will conclude the Nasdaq 100 analysis of where these resistance areas are going to be. And it's going to be right over here in the MMT market maker application. And these diamonds and these resistance levels, each one of these lines are $15.17, but you can see how accurate they are. And not only that, that's going to be the major wall of resistance on the way up. MMTs within the opening bell on 6/18/2012.